Good afternoon. I'm Eric Ryu from Samsung. I'm from the site. It's Advanced Institute of Technology, and actually we have a role of bridging between science and some commercialization. And it's so the neuromorphic is the very interesting area, and we had spent some year and resources to understand how this technology can enhance the computing. So our motivation is based on these things. It's low power operation is always good for the everyday use, especially if we use in some mobile devices. And if you can make some fast reaction application, that always enhance the user experience when somebody have to wait some moments to appear some application, then it is not good. So if you can enhance the speed, it's always good. And more application is asking accurate and robust decision, even you have to deal with many of the big data. So the current accuracy of the computer, sometimes it is not necessary to making a fast decision. And better intelligence, I think it is some part is true, some part is not true, but it needs more computing resource to enhance the accuracy. And a suitable processing architecture is also needed. And here is one of the motivation is that the left figure is the portal. It's usually we record for the human, so it uses some CMOS image sensor. But if a machine try to understand the motion of human, sometimes it is not efficient. So the right side is the image result got from the DVS sensor made by Toby Delbruck, and this is only detect the edge of the motion, and this is very asynchronous. So it's very efficient when you trying to get the motion of the hand. So let me show this video. It's this was successful internally to show why neuromorphic can be efficient to understand the object movement. So the previous speaker said about some aperture problem when there is some edge is not oriented in a direction of the motion. In that case, that it give a wrong estimation of the velocity direction. But in an event-based case and with these edges, and mostly this is based on the time-based events, and so combined together with spatial location and also some events happen on some time series, then you can point out which point moves in which direction. So actually it can give a very accurate direction of the each feature point in parallel. Also it do not burn many of computing power. Actually it's around 5 to 10% of a small ARM core can process calculate these all different elements where it moves. So this is was a kind of evidence for us. This event-based approach can help to reduce the computing power. One benefit may be the power efficiency. Nowadays, energy efficiency worries on some CPU, GPU case, and the other extreme case is analog SP. The left measure of its MAC, its multiplier accumulation, it's per watt. But as you see, this is from the Jennifer Hersler of Georgia Tech, and we estimating that the neuromorphic approach can save much power, but still. But our brain, it seems like they save the power by not doing some work as a multiplication. So I think we believe it's necessary to understand what exact calculation happens through the neurons. So the potential benefit is we achieve the low power at a real time, and it has some high computing capability, even not doing some multiplication. I think that can be a benefit. But another issue raised even in using of this approach is that we may need more silicon because our brain do not. Sometimes it's I don't know exactly, but during my research in the company, it needs more silicon to handle some same function. And also we need a proper architecture. And we need also some knowledge about why this is very better than existing architecture like ASIC. So one of our motivation is based on this fast real time and also some low power consumption, but there is still a lot of computing resources we needed. Especially we made some application in an area of this area, and it is mostly we just handle the static image or some sounds process, but the more interesting application can be happen in the other area. But now current computing system only can handle in an economic way. We can only handle on this is a perception area. So in a company like us, it's to go more detail and more heavy research to do. We need to demonstrate why this system is much better. And to do that, we have to first simulate some of the simple system. We need to develop our own simulator. And also we need to make our own neuron simulator and build some dynamic model of each neuron and each synapse. Also, we need to construct some structural model of the neurons. And we also do some work on optimal parameter range settings. And we start with a small embryo. First, actually, we did some cortical column simulation, but at the beginning, it was very difficult to understand what a cortical column can perform as a computer. So instead, we go detail to the cortical column, but we move to the very basic small animal. It's just a simply sensory motor and reflexive system, but I think after some verify of our network model work, then we thought we can go more complex system. So I think you well know about the C. elegans. The C. elegans is a very small animal, but it can locomote forward, backward, and it can do a omega turn, and its head oscillation can be happen. And this is quite small. It's just 1 millimeter. But it has one of the best thing of this animal is that we know full connectome data available, and lots of genetic experimental data we already have. So it was the first target to simulate this animal nervous system. But amazingly, it has around 40% of the genetic code of the human. So it obviously it's a good target system. But the problem is there is no very limited electrophysiological data because it is a hydraulic. So if you put some electrode inside this animal, then it's very difficult to make this C. elegans survived. So there is very difficult to get the electrophysical data here. This is kind of a summary of our study result of this network. It has around 302 neurons, but locomotion related sensory, interneuron, and motor neuron, it just have 200. But to make this animal move, you need to know exactly what each neuron function is. So there is here, at the left side, it's a head, and the middle of the body segments. And you need to define, there is some pre-knowledge about the function of each neuron and location, but still there is many unknowns, like connection, directionality, and inhibition or excitatory. And this all data is not unknown, so you need to many of the prediction and assumptions is necessary to actually this neural network works. And also to verify its locomotion mode, then you need to simulate on with a dynamic model. So combine this all together, then you can understand the dynamics of this C. elegans. So there is some typical motion of this animal. It's one is the head oscillation, and to generate the head oscillation, you need to activate these neurons in time series. And there is another model. If you want to make this animal forward and backward, then you need activate these neurons from the head to the muscle. So let me show you whether this is sorry. It doesn't work. Okay, the video is showing the oscillation of the head, and it shows the C. elegans is going forward. And so we successfully could simulate this behavior of this small animal. And one specific behavior of this animal is that its omega turn. It's around 180 degrees of change of direction when I don't know why it did happen, but it may have some reason. It may be good for survive. And this is a very unique behavior of this animal. And to prove of our simulation works, then we have put many of times to regenerate this simulation works. So there is a stimulus, and there is it backward, and then it return, and head it's going forward. So after the sum of this study, we need to justify which neuron, why which neuron, whether it's really essential for reflect this activity. So another step to justify and to know, what we did is some optogenetic stimulation. So it's a change of some gene, and to have them to have to get a stimulus by the light. So you can see there is when light stimulus, then it activates this omega turn. It's going backward. So yeah, this optical stimulus, after get optical stimulus, then around 50% of this animal, it's show this omega turn. Then we spend a lot of time to justify each neuron, whether it has a correct dedicated function we assigned. So after this small animal study, we could understand how we can control the C. elegans behaves. So it is just 200 of neurons, but it has around 5,000 synapses. Then to control of this all neuron and synapses, actually it was not easy, but finally we could make this animal move in a computer. But after this simulation, what we learned is it was possible because there is a lot of data already exists for each neurons. But if you want to go further for the more complex system like cortical column, and then it means we need more data, specific data, and it may take more time to understand the actual functionality. And simulation, the one final lesson from this simulation is this is a very dedicated neural network. 200 neurons can show this good behavior, but this is very dedicated. But if you want to try to making some computer component, it means it has to show some general function, And because if you try to make all dedicated circuit for the different application, it means it's very timely, expensive, and also it costs a lot to develop it. So it raises a kind of economic issue. So we are trying to find another target of simulation. One is I think it's a cerebellum. Maybe it's a good candidate because it has just 10% of total brain volume, but it contains about half of the neuron and half of the whole brain neurons. And it's relatively simple, only 5 types of neuron, and it's very looks very regular comparing to the other brain area. So we hope we could get some put some learning capability also in this network, and then maybe we can get some functional characteristic from this simulation. And you may also have an interest why Samsung do this. Actually, this is a very memory-intensive system. We also doing some circuit research because beside of this architecture and some architecture study, also we are doing some economical, how we can make economical chips. So this is the neuron chip we designed for Vinotech core study, and there is another study about STDP and the learning capability testing chip. All of this shows us some designed specific functionality we got from this chip development. But the more difficult thing is to combine with this other the functions. We need to show some very high level function we need to get. And also the economics is come from the area of the chips. And so the one trial on this research area is, I think it's how we can put more neurons and synapses in a small area. And there is many approaches arise here, is SRAM or RLAM or FLASH, but all of this is not optimized yet, I think, and there's also still research issues. Some is non-volatile, so it's very good when it's finished, then you can keep the weight, but it's difficult to change the weight because it was high voltages, and there is still area issues. So these are still we are under study. Here is I showed this slide before, and we are now what we are using of this neural network is some pattern recognition. But if you, what we may want to move is knowledge-based and expertise system is better, and natural language processing in a much more higher accuracy, because it's 60% of accuracy or 80% accuracy. I think it's in a real application. It's a huge difference in a academic, but in a application side, there is still 40% of error or 20% error. So I hope this neural approach can reduce this error bound much more accurately. So this is the summary, and I have some discussion issue here. Is for us, event-based signal processing has the potential benefit to handle fast-moving scene, understanding at a low processing power, mainly because of we do not processing unnecessary events. And second thing is a small animal behavior can be understood by neural network simulation. Just around 200 neurons can represent a complex motion control. And deeper submicron technology can give economical benefit and per number of neurons per square millimeter. But it is still same for the conventional computing element. If you try to making some ALU in a small size, then I think it's also they can also enhance the computing power in a small area. So I have some question of mine. It's how much does local synapse memory save power and enhance the speed? It means we try to making us memories with a small tiny processor, so we will put together inside the chip. And the difference within the existing technology, we trying to access local memory, but the conventional technology, we get the information from the memory bank, so you have to access many times to calculate something. Then is it can be a benefit of the neuromorphic approach? That's my first question. And what task is only suitable for neuromorphic computing? There is many approaches already exist and many applications developed, but we need to just specify. I think that one simple concrete example would be good to make this neuromorphic computing is much progressively. And neuromorphic computing need to learn, and it's a question about the learning. We deal about the weight of a memory. We try to change the memory. It's a weight of memory, but I think it is not all of the brain function. We necessarily understand the network architecture, also how we can handle the time. We may learn about the time-varying things, and we in the brain, we control the times also. And I think there's much more things to learn in the brain. So we can simulate this is a conventional computer, but what we are trying to do is, I believe, we are trying to making it as a hardware. In that case, we need to change the weight and network, also some time, in an efficient way. Is more likely to the ASIC scale, not a general purpose of the computing element. So I think it is not a good question can be solved in shortly, but I hope we can discuss this more further in detail. Thank you. This is my talk.